Mexicans can't roll their R's, starting with me. What? What are you saying? Are you Mexican and a Spanish teacher and you can't roll your R's? Yes. This is the reality behind this beautiful sound that you believe all Hispanic people can do. If you speak Spanish or if you recognize the language, you may know that the R sound is the most characterized sound that the Spanish language has.
En Perú,
Se da amor.
Somos un poco más groseros.
The letter R is in the first 5 places of the most used words that the Spanish language has as well. If you are learning Spanish, this is probably the first challenge that you might face when you try to pronounce these letters. And it's understandable, but once you pronounce it, you feel you've reached a goal. But at the same time, if your native language is not Spanish, you might face a lot of problems trying to pronounce it. Maybe you feel frustrated, maybe you've been thinking, well, this isn't for me because Spanish is not my native language, and maybe I wasn't born with that gift. But let me break the news here. You are not alone. There are thousands of Mexican, Hispanic people who can't roll their R's, and they've been living in a Hispanic country for years, such as my case. And I know I'm not the only one because I made a video about this 4 years ago in Spanish talking about my problem.
A ver di ferrocarril, a ver di carro. Y obviamente yo no podía, pero...
And I was so surprised by the amount of comments I received below that video saying, oh, this is my case too. I can't pronounce the R. It's been so difficult. I'm at my 40s, I'm at my 50s, and I've been living with that problem all my life. Below that video, I also discovered that a lot of people really considered this like a huge problem. They were telling their stories, how they suffered when they were children, all the criticism that they've been receiving. Because, as I already said, the R letter is basic in the Spanish language. If a native Spanish speaker hears another native Spanish speaker pronouncing weird the R, not being able to roll their R's, they are going to find it funny, weird, interesting, unique. When I made this video in Spanish, I felt in a way very relieved. A lot of people were saying their stories. I realized that my feelings, the feelings that I was having when I was a child, when I was a teenager, even an adult, were valid. Let me read a comment. For example, this person says, Karencita, I loved your video. We are a lot of people who have the difficulty to roll their R's, and we were victims of a lot of laughings from our colleagues, and thanks to the love of our family, we've been overcoming this problem. There are a lot of comments on this video from people saying that when they were children or teenagers felt really bad about this situation. It was my case as well. I just want to make a quick interruption to tell you that I offer Spanish conversation courses or Spanish classes if you're interested in learning Spanish. If you've been starting to study with a book and then you came to Mexico and you realize that we don't speak like that, well, in my courses you are going to learn the real way we Mexicans speak. I've created these courses with real words, real Mexican phrases, real phrases that we speak daily.
Cursos de Thrive me ayudan muchísimo a mejorar mi nivel de español y hablar con fluidez.
Me encanta esto. Hay 2 oportunidades para practicar las cosas que aprendimos en nuestra.
If you want to start from zero, I have good news for you. get an asynchronous course where you're going to study at your own time, but you're going to still be speaking with native Spanish teachers to be able to practice Spanish. Only for $25, you are going to get 8 weeks of lessons speaking with native Spanish teachers, and you're gonna get functional Spanish. If you already know the basics and you just want to extend your vocabulary, you can also check out my courses where I focus on helping you to improve your Spanish. Check out my website, it's thriveinspanish.com. Before telling you a little bit about my experience, let me tell you that this is a video that I'm super happy to make, because I know that probably in about a month, in about 2 months, very soon, I will be able to roll my R's because I had a surgery. I will be telling you everything about this topic, so make sure to subscribe, hit that bell button so you can receive notifications, and let's go. I imagine there are a lot of different reasons of why people can't roll their R's. I want to talk to you about a specific reason. It was my reason, and it was about having a short frenulum. That meant that my tongue wasn't able to move freely. I wasn't able to take my tongue to the palate. When I did this, I felt like something was dragging my tongue, and I felt a little bit of pain, but I never paid a lot of attention. A few weeks ago, I went to the dentist, and the dentist immediately realized that I had that problem. He started to tell me, okay, pronounce some words with the R sound. I started to do it, and we both knew that I wasn't able to pronounce the words. They are going to cut this part of my tongue because it's very short, and that is not allowing my tongue to do the movements to pronounce very well the words that are super common in Spanish. If I'm honest, I'm not able to pronounce the words now. Let me give you an example. For example, but in Spanish is, and this is the way I pronounce it, is perro, perro, perro. I've been pronouncing this all my life, and I've been victim of a lot of laughs. People don't understand me sometimes. Let me give you another example. Shrimp in Spanish is camarón, camarón. If you can hear well, I don't do the correct pronunciation. I've been practicing a lot after having my surgery that I just had a few weeks ago, and I will show you the difference. I know that I can't do it well still, but I feel that I will be able to do it in the future. The sound that I used to say was this, camarón. Now this is the sound that I'm doing, camarón. Can you hear the difference? I couldn't believe that a simple surgery could solve my problem. I am practicing a lot now, and I realized that being able to roll our R's is not easy. It's a weird way to put the tongue on your palate and do it fast. It requires a lot of practice and preparation. So I admire the children who took a lot of time of their life to practice and being able to say this. Now that I can do this, I really want to start a podcast in Spanish, maybe a YouTube channel in Spanish. This is something that I just want to do because it feels great to be able to talk well. And why am I saying that it feels great to be able to talk well? When you have this problem, as I said, there are funny things that happen to you. When I started my YouTube channel, 5 years ago, more or less, and I started my YouTube channel speaking in Spanish. I was insecure of speaking in front of the camera, like many people. I think that's normal. But with this problem, I always had in mind that I needed to do an extra effort to be clear. People started to find my channel, and I started to receive a lot of comments from Mexican people, maybe Hispanic people as well, people from other countries of the world who also speak Spanish, saying, the way you speak is ugly. I don't understand why you're speaking like that. Are you trying to speak like your husband because your husband is from the UK? Even though this didn't make sense for me, I have to say that it kind of hurt. I didn't feel secure to speak in my own language. And maybe that was part of the reason of why I turned to English. There were even more reasons. If you want to know why a Mexican speaks in English about her country, you can watch this video. A weakness always brings you a new opportunity. I feel secure speaking in English in front of a camera, and thanks to all those people who were laughing at me, who were mocking me because I wasn't able to roll my R's. So I have to say thank you very much, guys, for encouraging me to do something, to try something different. Thank you. And because of that, because it was super evident in the comments that a lot of people were leaving saying, you speak bad, I don't like how you speak. Thanks to that, more or less 3 or 4 years ago, I started to practice again. I thought, maybe I am able to roll my R's, and maybe I'm just lazy. Maybe I gave up when I was a child and I didn't want to try again, but I'm going to try it. I remember that I was in Vietnam with Dave, and I was at home alone almost all day long because Dave worked in a school. So I had time to do all these weird sounds like I was super motivated. That I remember that when Dave arrived, I was still practicing, and he was like, "Oh my God, can you rest for a few minutes?" And after doing all those exercises for months, I was able to pronounce the double R, because you know that Spanish has 2 pronunciations with the R, double R and just one R. There's a huge difference. For example, as I mentioned before, but in Spanish is pero, but dog in Spanish is perro. And if you can hear well, I am pronouncing perro well. This was the result of a lot of months of practice living in Vietnam. It's so cool to be able to say perro. And before that, I remember that I used to talk like this, perro. After doing that, I felt like I reached a goal. But even though all the effort I was doing, I wasn't able to roll the R with just one R, because the pronunciation of just one R is totally different compared to double R. Because double R, obviously it's a strong sound, your tongue has the time to do the vibration. With just one R, it's a very fast movement that goes up and down. I tried harder and harder, and I realized that I wasn't able to pronounce the R. At the same time, when I was in Vietnam, I started to be a professional Spanish teacher. That was another challenge that I was facing, because in my mind I was thinking, oh, okay, I can't roll my R, and I'm going to become a Spanish teacher. I had something in my mind, but my husband encouraged me. He said, are you going to limit yourself just because you can't roll one R? Just because of that, you don't want to do it? He's right. So I started to teach Spanish. My students were so kind. They didn't even realize. They never said something to me. I've been having a lot of students who said, oh, I feel bad because I can't roll my R's. And I was like, well, did you know that I am not able to roll my R's too? And they were so surprised. And that was I think that made my students to keep studying more and more. Now I am a Spanish teacher. I make videos in English on YouTube. I feel more confident as well. And a few weeks ago, I received the news that I was going to be able to roll my R's. I immediately said, yes, I want to have the surgery. I had the surgery where my mom is living in the state of Hidalgo. The city is called Progreso de Obregón. A very good dentist. And I paid $75. And now I just need to practice. Roll our R's is part of our language and our culture. It's so important and so essential that if you're a native Spanish speaker and are not able to roll your R's, you become a victim of a lot of jokes. And I consider a lot of people don't talk about this because I believe a lot of people feel embarrassed of not being able to pronounce an important letter of our language. I remember that I even tried to look for synonyms to avoid words with the letter R. It's not cool that we as native Spanish speakers don't accept that other people have that problem, that they are struggling with that. At the same time, if you are a foreigner who are watching this video and you feel bad because you aren't able to roll your R's, I hope that this video encouraged you to keep trying. And if you really want to stop trying, it's fine as well. You are not alone. And the reality is that we Spanish-speaking people don't really pay a lot of attention when a foreigner can't roll their R's because we know that it's difficult even for us. So don't feel bad if you don't do it. If you're a native Spanish speaker and you've been going through this, let me know in the comments how your experience has been, or if you know a person who speaks this way, try to be more empathetic. If you're a foreigner, I just want to tell you, don't feel a lot of pressure for that. That's it for today. Thank you very much for watching this video and see you in the next video. Adios!